Hi, my name is Rene Cruz Jr.
And I'm Clifford Honko.
and we are those fucking nerds. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Yay! Music. Nga pala, nag-promise tayo may music, you know. But, wala, busy kami. Blah, blah. Like, I'm not angry, I'm just saying. Like, it's a free show, Jesus.
But you are getting older tomorrow.
Yes, yes. So nga, you remembered. Nice. It's the day before my birthday, and that's why, as a special treat to me, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite books and story arcs from the comics. If you read the caption, this time we're doing Marvel Comics Infinity. This was released when?
And well, the book was released in 2014,
The story arc came out 2013.
way before.
Well, it was
Was
really
it?
super long. It's super
Yeah.
long. So parang I think it spanned.
2013.
Yeah.
About the same time the Avengers came out, huh?
Yes. I think, well, the Avengers movie came out in 2012.
Yeah, summer.
So it was a brief history na parang, like based on my observation. No?
Mm.
Like the movie came out and they knew that it was going to be a big deal because Marvel was, like really making a lot of waves with their at least the phase one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So when the Avengers movie came out, they had their soft reboot,
Right.
Marvel Now, wherein like they made all of their titles. They started off with their first issues again, and they made all of the titles more accessible to new readers, anticipating, na yun nga, like because of the movie and the movie series, they have a bunch of new readers coming in. So okay, let's. Okay, it's a soft reboot. It's a soft restart because tuloy pa rin yung basic continuity, but yeah, everyone got fresh story arcs. They ignored a lot of unnecessary history. They made the Hulk finally a member of the team
Right.
because, of course, he's in the movie. A lot of people.
And Thanos made waves, huh?
Yes, Thanos. So when that happened, the first big event of the Marvel Now era is this Infinity, and if you watch the first two episodes that we've done, and if you know what we have in store in future episodes, a lot of the story arcs and a lot of books that we have decided to discuss are relatively old. Like a lot of them are like set like in the the formative shit we read in our formative years of comic book fandom. This is one of the newest ones we're tackling.
Yeah.
Because like again, in my opinion, as far as comic book special events goes, Infinity is I'd like it's very underrated. That's why I was pushing for us to discuss the book. It's very underrated. It doesn't get as much love as it should, not as much love as it deserves, and it's very like for a big event. This comparing other big events from Marvel, this actually feels like a big event.
Right.
It's got Thanos. It's got um, all how many teams of the Avengers involved? Because at the time they have like three or four,
Right.
like Avengers, the new Avengers.
West Coast.
No, West
It's so
Coast.
nice.
Yeah. Age marker. Yeah. Plus minor appearances from the mutants, from Red Hulk's team,
Thunderbolts.
the Thunderbolts. Yeah, and all branches of Marvel Universe's security forces like Shield and Sword, and like again, it's an epic. It's a modern day epic, especially like it's a really good story, which we'll discuss further in a bit. But it's a really good story. It's a really good epic scale story in a time where Marvel was really turning out like really crappy events,
Right.
like Original Sin.
Well,
It's the worst thing that's ever been printed, other than like I don't know, Mein Kampf. It's just so bad. But yeah, for me, yeah, Infinity is gem.
pun intended.
Oo nga, no, yeah. Well, how do we start it? Do we talk about the story now?
Yeah, let's get a quick overview.
All right. The story. Wait, coffee. The story of Infinity. Like, if you're watching this and you're not you're not like us who like grew up reading comics. If you're a newer fan, Infinity is something that you should, at the very least, read. Especially if you're a fan of the Avengers movies, and who isn't? Because Infinity is like it's got layers of plot. You have a war. There's an interstellar war going on wherein
Hmm.
there's a threat to the universe. So all alien races in the known Marvel universe. So you have your Kree, your Shi'ar, your Skrulls, uh, the people from Annihilus's place.
Negative zone.
Yeah, what are they called? The
Uh,
Annihilation Wave.
yes.
And the Spartans or Spartoi.
Spartan.
Yeah. They all have to band together because of the creators, which it's very it's very Lord of the Ringsy, wherein like everyone, all the kingdoms have to unite to fight this threat. Now the Avengers, detecting this threat, they form like they assign a team to go into space to help out all of these races because the Avengers knows that like if the makers win or beats all of these other races, Earth has no hope of surviving. So they do that. They split the team into two. Captain America leads the people that go into space and helps out. Iron Man stays on Earth with his own band of Avengers, which, well, they're not really Avengers. They're the Illuminati, like the greatest minds in the Marvel universe. So that's Doctor Strange,
Them I
Black
know.
Panther, Namor, uh, the
Professor
Beast,
X.
who takes the place of Professor X, who
Oh,
died
okay.
in AVX, which is yeah, we
Event.
should talk about that in one of the because I also like AVX.
Yeah.
So, unbeknownst to most of the Avengers, the reason why Tony decided to stay is his team is also dealing with another crisis involving the multiverse because in order for their dimension to survive, they took it upon themselves to destroy other universes. All these parallel dimensions are being destroyed by Tony and his gang to keep their dimension safe. So that's two things that's going on at the same time. And then a third thing happens that Thanos is on his way to Earth to look for his son.
Dun, 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 dun.
So all of these things are happening. Yeah, that's why I a lot of people like again it's in space. They compare it to Star Wars. It's more like the Lord of the Rings, because wherein you have this rich roster of characters all dealing with all of these things happening at the same time, and it all reaches to a climax wherein like, oh my God, how do the heroes save the day? Will Cap find out about Tony's shenanigans? Will this tear the Avengers apart? Again, considering that it's only been released a few years ago, it's
It already made an impact on the cinematic universe.
yes, it does. It made a big splash in the comics. Of course, it's a very pivotal event, and it's like when we discussed Batman books last time, how it inspired the movies. Infinity also inspired the latest movie, Infinity War. This is actually the storyline wherein the Black Order is introduced. The Black Order is actually the one in the movies, like the aliens that Thanos calls his children. This is the storyline where they make their first appearance. A lot of the scenes here are actually like have been adapted from by the filmmakers. Like particularly like one famous one when Ebony Maw was torturing Doctor Strange.
Ooh,
It happens here in Infinity. Like that scene in the movie, it happens here. Circumstances were different, and in this one it was a lot more brutal. But yeah, it's a Disney movie. What do you expect? Um, the huge battle in Wakanda from the Infinity War movie is actually inspired from a really huge fight scene in this storyline in Wakanda, involving Black Panther and Shuri with the rest of the Wakandans and Tony's team taking on an army of outriders who tried to take over Wakanda as Thanos and his Black Order are searching the globe for Thanos' son, Thane.
Fame.
You'd think that with all things happening, it was insane.
What?
And I really love this storyline because I'm a big Avengers dork. I grew up reading about these guys. Captain America's my favorite guy, and I have two favorite heroes. Like I like most of them, but my favorites are Cap and Batman because of their like. I think they serve the same purpose in their respective teams as a tactician,
Right.
but Cap isn't an asshole. So that's. But yeah, man, they justified Cap as the two tactical genius that he is because they send him. They go to space, and all of a sudden, all of these alien races are listening to this human who has no powers and he can't even fight in space because like just
He's
has
the
the
guy.
shield. Yeah, man. It showed the Avengers in their purest states. Like this is Cap. He's a leader. He's a tactician. They have Thor, who is portrayed here like a badass god, wielding that hammer like no one else. They have Banner, who is like providing support not as the Hulk but as Bruce Banner because I have a lot of complaints about the Marvel Now era of comics. But one thing they did right, they established that Banner is smarter than Stark.
Mhm.
And they showed every chance they can. Like Banner played a supporting role in that space assault
Right.
as one of the brains. I mean, yeah, he hulked out at some point. He has to.
Yeah.
It also showed guys like Hawkeye and Captain Marvel. Um, just again, Falcon. They're all just like they're there. They didn't approach this as your usual hero versus villain storyline because this is an actual war,
Mhm.
and you get the feel of the scale of everything, the stakes. They're there because there's a scene there with Cannonball and Sunspot, and they were just seeing the refugees from alien races that had their planets destroyed by the Makers, and they have to like it's still like of course it's very it's still a fantastical story, but it's very grounded in a sense that okay, this is a battle, this is a war, and there are stakes, there are consequences to every decision that they make. This is a multi-title event. Like Infinity has its own, like it's a six
The main
issue.
series.
Yeah,
The main
it's
series.
uh
Seven issues. Oh, six.
six. It's
Okay.
Infinity is a six-issue mini series, and it ties in with most of the Marvel universe during that time. Again, all of the Avengers titles are involved, and a lot of other uh, Marvel titles at the time also felt the effects of this event, especially when Thanos finally reached Earth. And yeah, it's great. There's even it's very cinematic when you read it because the art style is like big panels and
Drawn by our very own Lionel Francis Yu. Huh?
yeah, the entire storyline boasts some really great artists. Lionel Yu, Jimmy Chung,
Jim Chung,
Jim
yeah.
Chung,
He's doing Justice League now.
yes, Jerome Pena, of course, classic Avengers penciler Mike Deodato.
Of course.
It's and like all of the frames, and considering the story takes place in space, in New York, in Wakanda, Atlantis. It's basically like it's a tour of the Marvel universe.
It is.
Yes, and Thanos is portrayed here as Thanos because he's Marvel's top. I'm sorry, second top villain, Doctor Doom. But yeah,
He toots what he wants.
mhm. What?
I haven't seen that.
He toots what he
No,
wants.
no, no. I just saw it this morning. Just saw this panel. Namor was like, "Fool, don't toot." They were holding this horn.
Oh, don't toot.
Fool.
I toot what I want. Doom toots.
Oh, hey, this is a nice panel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Look at the art.
Oops, it's glare E, but yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Like if you notice, the panels are like there's this Iwo Jima
Yeah.
tribute, and again, it's grandiose in scale. Um, So obviously, I'm gonna recommend you guys buy this and read this. And like, if you, especially if you're a fan of the movies, and the movies are the reason why you jumped into comic books, this is the big event that would satisfy you. Like, because the movies are a treat,
Yeah.
But if you're a regular reader of the comics, you only get that type of cinematic experience when they do the big events.
Right. True.
Like every title, like their normal story arcs, especially Marvel, like it's just like they're walking around New York and oh my god, it's Doctor Octopus, and that's it. Like it's, but like the big stuff. I mean, unlike there's no reason why I slightly prefer the Justice League comics over the Avengers,
Ah,
because every story arc in the Justice League is like it's world, like it's world
world cinematic.
changing. Like if they fail, everyone dies. Every storyline, like that's their normal day. They wake up like, oh my god, again with this shit.
Oh, we should do JLA by Morrison sometime.
Yeah, and I have JLA versus Avengers,
Nice.
so we'll do that at some point. But yeah, Infinity is a must read for those new Marvel fans, based because of the movies. And if you're an old Marvel fan, like guys like me and Clifford over here, like our age is like we were spoiled, I guess, because during when we were younger and we were reading comics, every event felt like a big deal.
Yeah.
And in this modern era, we're in like every year, I think both Marvel and DC are required to come out with a big event, with and like more than one event in a lot of cases. This is a modern day big event that actually feels like a big event.
Right.
Like it's worth devoting your time and your money into if you're buying this. This actually is a collected edition. It's softbound. It has the main storyline, the main Infinity storyline, and the tie-ins from Avengers and the New
New
Avengers.
Avengers.
There's a companion book to this. It shows the other tie-ins, but while not really integral to understanding this story, it's very interesting to read because at some point, not to spoil it, but at some point, certain members of the Avengers get captured. So the tie-ins show like how they escaped or how they dealt with being captured and all that.
It gives more layers to the main story.
Yeah. The thing is, like with Marvel now, when they handled the Avengers, because their tagline was "We have to get bigger." So the Avengers were basically recruited, and you're looking at me
Everyone.
like you're ready with a dick joke.
It's in the back of my head.
Yeah, like they said, like we have to get big, so they recruited every single possible Avenger that they can. So like they have Wolverine and Spider Man and like everyone, and they handle the Avengers like they were the GI Joes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of them, but they only send specific Avengers to certain missions, and or Justice League Unlimited if you've watched that show. So every episode is
Who
like
has not watched that show?
casuals.
Ooh.
Yeah, but yeah, this book is a must read. For fuller experience, get this and the companion book. Again, this is a
Mhm.
softbound. Clifford here is going to tell you about all the available versions of this book
The-
based on your little
My
whiteboard
little
thing.
cheat sheet. I was
Yeah.
doing research the other day. Thing is, what I like about Infinity is you got you can just buy that main book
Mm.
and you're all set. The main story. You could grab the companion book and just get a better understanding of what's going on at
And
what
see what Deadpool was
yeah
doing during that time because that was
yes
amazing.
yes. So if you as we have established before, I am the hardcover guy.
Yeah.
I like it hard. No,
Oh, there you go.
that came out wrong.
There it is.
Uh,
Oh,
okay, I like hardcovers, and uh, Infinity came out first as a hardcover February 2014, so it may take some work
hmm
looking for it. But the thing with Marvel, and if you are planning on collecting Marvel hardcovers, omnibuses, deluxe editions, premiere editions, which we probably will talk about some other time. But if the thing with Marvel is they do have limited runs
Yeah.
of their books, so it usually is a good idea to buy it as it comes out. Like
hmm
if it's announced, save up some cash, buy it within 3 months because especially if the
They
book
run
is
out.
very popular,
Yes.
you will end up paying a lot more.
Yeah, just like
In
if you're buying it from other collectors, it's gonna
yes,
be.
yes, yes. I mean,
I
uh,
mean, if you find someone who's willing to sell it,
yes,
it's also
that's
a
another
challenge.
thing. So the trade paperback that we were just holding a while ago, that's probably the best, most affordable option that you've got,
Hmm.
and it's not that hard to find. You can ask your favorite bookstore
Fully booked.
for the book. Yes. Ha!
uh,
Shout out, hi.
hey.
Um, and or if well, if you want the complete story, there is a an upcoming omnibus coming out later this year. It's the Infinity by Jim Starlin and
Yeah.
Jonathan Heckman omnibus.
Jim Starlin is to those new to this kind of thing. Jim Starlin created like the biggest figures in Marvel's cosmic universe. Thanos,
Yeah,
Adam Warlock, uh, the entities, like all of them, the annoying
the Cosmic
ones,
Guys.
you know, all of them, like the wordy guys.
I don't know what's that guy. Pip.
Pip,
That's one
yeah,
guy.
Pip.
What was that? Did he create Pip? I don't know.
Well, I think Starlin created the entire Infinity Watch,
Oh
and
yeah.
Pip was a member of that. I don't know about Drax though, because Drax was a member of Infinity Watch, but I think he appeared way before Infinity Watch. I don't know. We'll have to double check.
Because we did not do our research.
Mhm. But speaking of like research, like if there's, I don't want you guys watching thinking that we're just here like trying to sell books because we're not. We're not affiliated with any, and it's just that we're really big fans, so we talk a lot of, like we praise most because these are books from our personal collections. So, like we love them, obviously.
And they cost, but the thing is, they cost a lot.
Yes. My like if I'm going to say something negative about this particular book, and this is like a gripe that I have with a lot of the major events that are happening in comic books these days. If Infinities again, like you can pick it up, you can read it, you will enjoy it. However, it's Jonathan Hickman's. What's this? Like it's his. It's the climax of his run
Mhm.
on the Avengers. So a lot of the shit that happens in this book, you might like the casual reader might have a hard time digesting or understanding if they haven't read the Marvel Now Avengers from the first issue and the New Avengers from its first issue, because all of the events, but Hickman has been planting seeds from this. Like even the main antagonists, the makers and the engineers, the Alephs, they were introduced as early as issue one of the Avengers.
Right.
So, and Tony's dilemma with the multiverse, they don't really like if you're just gonna pick up this book, if you're just gonna read Infinity, they don't really go into detail as to why this is happening. Why are the other dimensions colliding
Mhm.
with their dimension? So you're going to like if you're someone that likes to understand every single facet of the story, there's gonna be a lot of back reading to do. And yeah, so that's my only complaint. Like it took me so long to realize because I was reading the books regularly.
Yeah.
So when this came out, I didn't mind it. But when I bought this, and then I bought this when it came out,
Yeah.
and it came out again like a year after.
The when it was
Yeah.
still in
Hmm.
singles.
So and I read it like when it came out, the event. So after a year, I bought this. I reread it, and like it took me a long time. Like I had to reread a bunch of older storylines to get me in that mindset. Okay, like this is what happened. This is why Cap is like this, and this is why Strange is out, and the issues between Namor and T'Challa. It all happened here, but they don't call back on previous events.
Yeah.
Like you're
There's
going
no recap. There's no.
yeah, like you don't know why Black Panther and Namor hate each other if you didn't read any of the other books.
I guess that's the problem with the comic book. Well, not just
Serials, yeah.
Marvel, but
Even
with
DC.
DC and other publishers. The thing is, if you're talking about a huge universe
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to, and I think, and I do know that some people are like hesitating to buy the books because they're like, I'm not gonna be able to understand that because I don't know what's happening
Mm-hmm.
because let's say I recommend one, let's say Infinity, and then of course you have to who are those guys? Then you have to back read, and then you
Exactly.
find, and then you find yourself having a nice little stack of books instead of when all your focus is just
Just the
one.
one. Like I want this story, but it starts to become like school, like
Right, right.
this is what I want to learn, but like for me to learn this, I have to, like, I don't know, enroll in PE.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
have to learn everything else. um but yeah, like if you're fine with not getting every single reference, it's still an enjoyable read.
right.
Like my comparison is, again, is this personal bias based from the time frame that I started reading comics. Secret Wars, the original Secret
Oh
Wars.
yeah.
It's the first big event from Marvel. It came out in the late 70s, I think, or early 80s.
Mm.
You pick that up, regardless if you've never read X-Men or you've never read Spider-Man. You pick that up, you read it, it's fine. Like you may be meeting, because I think the reason why they did that event, because it only included the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the X-Men.
Right.
I know, I don't think Daredevil was there, so it's just them,
No.
the super teams, and Spider-Man,
Spider-Man. I mean that
and then
Spider-Man got
their,
his costume.
yeah, huh? And their respective villains.
Yes.
But during that event, you don't see a lot of shit that pertains to the stuff occurring in their individual books. So it's just there. It's a self-contained story.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. That's what I want my events to be like. Infinity Gauntlet, the first one, the whole snap thing. If you haven't read it, I'm not spoiling it, but the snap in the movie, that's what ends the movie. In the book, that's what starts it. That's why I prefer the book. Um,
I think you can even find reprints of the first issue
yeah,
for like
there's a bunch. There's a bunch
no,
of
but the first issue you can find it for like $1.
yeah, yeah. True Believers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean I have one that's somewhere in my stack
Mm.
over there. So and and then you can find so many configure. That's the thing with Infinity Gauntlet.
Hmm.
Just the past year, there are so many configurations
Yes.
of that series. You have the main series in trade paperback. You got like a deluxe edition. I think it's still yet to come out.
Hmm.
I'll have to look into it. And then you got the various omnibuses because there's Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, and what was
Yeah.
the other one?
The third one,
Uh,
Infinity Crusade.
Crusade, yeah. And then there's another the one I mentioned earlier, the Infinity Omnibus, which includes Infinity plus a few other.
Yeah. And then
Uh,
there's a new event happening right now, also called Infinity.
oh yeah, that was
Don't
so weird.
Yeah, don't be confused with all of these Infinity titles. Just again, my personal favorite is this one, Infinity by Jonathan Hickman. Second would be Infinity Gauntlet.
Hmm.
Everything else you don't have to read
Hmm.
unless you're just like a
The
completist.
completist.
But yeah, like, because the Gauntlet is, again, it's also like, why did we reach this point? Yeah, I was talking about how events are no longer self-contained. Even Infinity Gauntlet back then, like, you pick it up, you read it. Again, you don't have to listen to the X-Men drama if you're not interested, because they're just there.
Yeah, there's
Mm,
always a tie-in. I mean,
yeah.
I guess it reached the point where you have a single event, and then you'd have like the tie-ins outnumber the main event by
Hmm.
like maybe 6 or 8 to 1.
Yeah, it's a cash
So
grab. It is.
I mean,
It
yeah,
is.
it's a big cash grab, and I think at some point, comic readers just didn't. I mean, personally, I sort of limit myself to just the main series whenever I try an event. I try reading an event. I still collect singles. We still collect singles. So
But the
mm,
problem though is, like, if you're only focused on the main series, so what they do now is they make the tie-ins must read,
yeah, because of
which is kind of like, for me, it's cheating. Like, it's like, if I'm going to read, let's say,
sorry,
Trinity or Trinity of Sin.
Trinity. There is Trinity, and then there's Trinity of Sin.
Yeah, so if I just want to read Trinity of Sin, which is just a few issues, and then like issue 3 ends like this, and then issue 4 is like, suddenly there's a
Mm,
time jump.
right.
Again, I feel like I'm being cheated. Like, I
Final
have to,
Crisis. Right.
yeah, Final Crisis.
We're going DC now, but
Yeah.
bear with us.
Mhm. It's a Events are a big,
Mhm.
it's a big, it's a very divisive issue with comic book fans. Secret Empire,
Mhm.
fuck Secret Empire. I'm fuck that.
I sort of stopped reading after the
Ah,
whole.
I stopped reading after Original Sin.
What?
Original Sin was my
Yeah.
like. Okay, I'm not. I'm done. I'm done for
Yeah.
now. I'll just stick to the older comics.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
the 90s were great.
mm,
I mean, you got
not great.
but the thing
I'm
with
an
the
80s guy.
the
Like
thing with the
the
90s
yeah.
is whenever there's an event, let's say X-Men Fatal Attractions, the event is just limited to these. The crossover is just limited to these number of issues, so
Mm-hmm,
it's not that hard. If you want to collect it singles, it's not that hard to
mm-hmm.
collect. If you want the collected editions, um, it's affordable
Yes.
and it's not that difficult to understand. Oh,
And it was the 90s, so you have like hologram covers
oh
and
yeah, that's not easily replicated on collected editions. On the other hand, the trade off is crossover, and it also applies to most crossovers anyway. The thing is, the inconsistency.
yeah.
Like you got various writers per series,
Yeah,
and
and they
then
don't plan it out right, like the
yeah,
way they do now.
yeah,
That's one thing. Like I've been griping about how events from before are better. In a lot of ways, like at least now, like they
they,
write it like how writers write TV shows.
mhm.
So it's very like if
They have
they
a they have
plan
a
everything out now in advance.
they have a showrunner.
Yes. So when you like back then, because I never liked mutant books. It's very rare that I pick one up. But if we're talking about the 90s and special events, my favorite one would have to be the Phalanx.
Oh,
And I'm surprised they haven't come out with a TPB or anything of that.
yeah. What's up with that?
Because I really like, because of all of the events from Marvel, from the X-Men, from the 90s, it's the most coherent.
I mean, they had a collected edition of the. Remember when they introduced the Phalanx early
Yeah.
on Uncanny X-Men, and then there was this crossover.
Mhm.
I have some single issues in there, but the, there was a collected edition, but it focused on because that event formed Generation X.
Yes.
So the collection
The
sort of
future of mutants, they're gone now.
until
They
they
no
weren't.
longer exist.
One of them became a vampire and shit.
Really?
Jubilee became a vampire.
Oh
That's
yes.
weird.
That's my problem. Like, they could have done that with any other member. Like, why the most popular member of the?
The sad part is I like Generation X.
Really?
Yeah,
They did nothing. They just hung
I
out.
know they're just a bunch of they're like what's the closest?
This is a weird tangent, by the way. Like we were talking about Infinity. Like now we're in
No,
Generation X.
no, because that series is so self-contained.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
they're just a bunch of kids stuck in some.
It's cool.
Yeah, I know that's the
And
good
I
thing
think
about
they
it.
were the first students of Emma Frost.
They were no
That
second set. The first set Hellions died.
yeah, no, I mean like as a good guy.
Ah yes,
Because
yes.
that's if there's one good thing that Generation X produced, they made it possible for Emma Frost to be considered an X-Men.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Like that's their legacy. Like, it's,
That
not
was
the
weird.
kids, Emma Frost.
And they were like the weirdest mutants.
Skin is so gross.
Who's that guy with the chamber?
Chamber, like
Yeah, he's
this,
like
the
he's got the
lower.
cavity
Yeah,
here.
yeah, he has
Yeah,
no mandible. Like it's just flame.
yeah, that was, and then the Cannonball sister.
It's just insane. The character
Yeah.
designs of the X-Men. Actually, like the 90s X-Men. Like, we'll talk more about the X-Men in the next episode. But we're doing an X-Men book in the next one. But yeah, the 90s. That's why I kind of flinched when you said the 90s were great. Because
We both started reading comics in the 90s.
I started in the late 80s.
Ah,
But,
okay.
basic stuff. Spider-Man, Avengers, League.
Okay.
Not much the Justice League because it was the time that Aquaman led
Oh.
the team and it was vibe.
We have to say that yeah, Avengers sucked in the 90s.
Yeah, actually, most comic books and I can't like the shit I was excited about back then.
Mhm.
I tried rereading them recently. Like, oh my god, this is so dumb. I don't know. Like, it's probably like the 80s, like especially like we were, like everyone's talking about Spider-Man now because of
Mm.
Spider-Verse. The 80s had like Green Goblin and
What was that Spider-Man crossover? Maximum
Carnage.
Carnage.
That was early 90s.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Like the 80s had a lot of pivotal Spider-Man stories, like the death of Gwen Stacy and
It happened
all
in the
that.
80s.
Uh-huh. And in the 90s, they had the clones and fucking
Jesus.
Carnage and Aunt May dying multiple times. Like again, the 90s was like always like shock. It was always shock
That was
value.
like my bottom of the curve for
Yeah.
me.
Um,
I was around the time that was happening. I was already uh, checking out Image,
yeah.
maybe some Vertigo. I was that was the same time that I discovered Vertigo.
That was the
Discovered.
first like the what got me back into comic books was around 97, 98 when Mark Waid started writing Captain America.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And I think that was one of his first jobs in like comics,
Hmm.
and he made Cap cool again, like
Right.
you like the Operation Rebirth is. One of these days, I'm gonna bring that here and discuss it. So that was that, and then fucking Grant Morrison goes and takes over Justice League, brings back the original seven. So like at certain points, like it just dips from time to time, and I think
Yeah.
like for me, like personal opinion, currently the current comic books, that's the dip right now. Like we just have
Yeah.
to ride this out, and after this, it's gonna be another like age of really good storylines. Because remember, DC, Marvel, they were both like crazy, because like DC had the death of Superman and Batman being paralyzed at the same time,
Oh fuck yeah.
and then that was like good. It was good stuff, but like during that time, like there was nothing interesting happening. And then again, JLA comes back and like again, okay, like every issue is must read again. And yeah, that's why I'm really optimistic. Like it's one of the few avenues in life I'm optimistic about comic books,
Yeah.
because I'm sure that after we
They
get
have their peaks. They have their downs.
yeah, like after we get past all of this, after we get past all this Secret Empire bullshit, and what do they have now next?
God, I'm not following. What Infinity? No, they
In,
already did that.
Infinity
Is
is
it-
no. Usually Infinity, whatever
Yeah.
cosmic event they have, there's a
Yeah.
corresponding
I
event
sort of
in.
had my eye on Return of Wolverine.
Nah,
I mean, it's not like
yeah,
I'm buying the issues, but I was
but
just
yeah,
following the news. You
but
know,
it's a yeah. I might read that like when
when they come up with a
mhm.
collected edition,
Yeah.
which we might talk about.
I think Marvel
Um,
is actually improving now with the now that they're done with Empire, and because they did another soft reboot, like
yeah.
everyone started it the first issue again.
Well, I did hear that they're gonna do another event. I think that's the one that you're referring to. That's gonna be uh as big as Secret Wars, the one in 2015, Secret Wars.
That wasn't big though.
But it's universe changing.
Yeah, I mean it started a lot of things, but
Yeah, well,
plus it wasn't really an event because it was like just seven heroes involved. I like that story though. Like it was Bendis, right?
right
It was from Bendis.
before he moved to
It it,
DC.
it it actually planted the seeds for being Secret Wars in 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, Battle World! You're talking about Battle World. I'm thinking about Secret War from being Nick Fury's Secret
No,
War.
no, no,
That
no.
one is that one actually. That
Battleworld
was
is part of Secret
yeah
Wars.
yeah, but
That was great, but
I didn't read that. That was too. It was just too much for me.
well,
It's too
that
much.
it explain. I mean, you got really 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 basic premise of it is they combine. It's sort of like Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm.
They combine all these
Uh,
Marvel Earths, particularly the Ultimate Universe
Mhm.
and the 616. For those who are unfamiliar with
Six one
universe,
six is the normal, the
Marvel.
main continuity of the Marvel universe.
Right, so they basically merged it, which is why now you get Miles Morales.
He's in 616 now
He
because the
was in.
Ultimate Universe is gone.
Yeah,
Mm.
they sort of merged it. And that was okay. I mean, there was this really nice scene where involving a hamburger. That was really funny. You should. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
spoil it for you because you should read it because
I will.
that
I
was,
will.
was
All right.
probably the funniest thing in the whole
Yeah.
series. Anyway, now going back to Infinity.
Yeah, because we're talking about events, and yeah, for me personally, Infinity is the last great event Marvel put out. Because after this was the original Sin, and then Axis, and then
I haven't read Access yet.
don't like
Don't.
like,
Oh,
and
oh,
how could I
like-
forget Civil War 2? Like it's just one
Ah,
stinker after another, which again makes this book a lot better than it is. It's already a great book, but when compared to other recent events,
Yeah.
this just stands out more.
So for those of you who are following the movies, I guess what you are getting is like the distilled.
Yeah.
The cherry picked
Yes, like if you
versions of.
like I said earlier, like if you came to the comics just because you're a fan of the movies, this
It's a
you
must have.
get the same like gratification,
Mm.
because this is just like a bunch of heroes fighting a threat that's a lot bigger than they are, and finding a way to succeed. So it's this is why we love comics. Yeah. So yeah, so my recommendation, buy. I wouldn't, though. I wouldn't recommend splurging for the more expensive editions. To be honest,
That's probably
like
the cheapest one, I think.
yeah, like get the soft cover because it's a good read, but
It's something that you will want to have in your shelves,
mhm,
years after you've already read it.
yeah, like after a few years of you can reread it and it still get immersed in that universe that they created. But I don't think it's a great story. It doesn't deserve like a place on your coffee table. Yeah,
Why would you?
yeah, coffee table books,
Right now.
absolute editions. That's
Oh
what we
yeah, the
put
big
them.
one. Yeah, the big
Hmm.
ones.
So
I
don't.
mean,
That's my
no,
go stick with the paperback.
I just had this image of spilling coffee and on the books, and it's
I
like
think that was I think that's why it's called a coffee table book.
you're supposed to spill coffee on
No, you can put your mug on top of them.
Oh, okay.
So they're books that
But
also serve as coffee
I thought
tables.
the reason why we call them coffee table books is because they're so big that you can't open like
Yeah.
so you'd have to put them on coffee
Mhm.
tables.
I don't know, but
Or
yeah,
maybe they're supposed to be made now.
that's my recommendation at least. What about you? Like
I would say yeah. I mean, if
soft
I
cover
am
then?
well, yeah. I
Mm.
mean, the thing is, out of convenience. I mean, I still prefer hardcovers, but the thing is, I did try looking it up. Like
Mm.
I have this network of
Yeah.
fans who sell their books, and it's not something
It's
that's
a
easy to
CD
find.
underground.
Well, it's not the dark web yet.
Yeah,
We ain't
the
got
CD
there yet.
underground world of comic book collectors in the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah. If any of you guys are watching, you
Uh,
know who you are. Yeah, yeah. Or if you want just a single heavy convenient volume, just wait the omnibus out. A few months from now, we
mhm.
might probably post a link on the on the
Oh,
comments
that's
thread
one
somewhere.
comment also that I have. I think they kind of forgot about this.
Who?
Marvel.
Infinity?
Yeah, they don't like push for this as much as.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
it's a trend with publishers, right? Like if you have this event or
mhm.
this or movie, you should publish a new edition of that
Oh
book.
yeah, because like DC is always like they're coming out with the black. Was that black edition?
What? Black Order,
No, no, the shit they're coming out next year.
DC's Black Label.
Yeah, the black label. Again, they're going back to like really like the classics.
Hmm.
Marvel though, like I think it's because they put out so much, and their marketing strategy is always behind the latest shit that happened.
Yeah, they're so
So it's
random.
not. Mhm.
That's one of my biggest gripes with Marvel. It's not like I remember there's this series of books called Epic Collection. Like you
Oh
got
yeah,
volume
yeah, yeah,
one.
man. I love Epic Collection.
The thing is, Wolverine is like it's all over the place.
Hmm.
Like you got volume one, and then volume two is just coming out next year, but you already have volume 13 and 11
Yeah.
and 7, and there's like holes in the collections. Like, why don't you just release the damn thing chronologically? It's
Hmm.
easier.
No, what they do is they get rid of the filler issues.
They're just
Because I think well the Epic Collections that I enjoy is the Avengers ones
Mhm.
because it's per arc and only
Yeah.
the big arcs. Like they don't include like well there's one that was just so dumb. They call it the big three. So supposedly it's stories that focus on Cap, Thor, and Iron Man.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't read the whole thing because it's not it doesn't they didn't pick stories that explore the three's friendship.
So
It's just a bunch of stories that show the three of them. Like fuck this. Like,
oh,
that's just lazy shit. Like I
so
could name a bunch of story arcs that are better suited for that, but no, no.
they're they're like, hey you heard of Captain America?
Yeah.
It's like,
Parang,
oh,
okay,
shit.
magkasama kayo tatlo, print that shit.
Oh
No.
my god. I mean,
Um,
and then, yeah, I guess the target audience was those. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to. Well, those suckers who just, oh yeah, I got Captain America on the cover. I'm gonna buy him.
no, no.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
That's always a cash grab. Don't
Yeah.
comics are like the proof of the adage like don't trust a book by its cover. Don't judge. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like so many times I bought a comic book because like, oh my god, the Batman is here. Like fucking, he's there
Ooh,
for
yeah.
3 pages. But yeah, so yeah, that's our recommendation. Read it, buy it. Don't spend too much on it because you can like save your money on.
You still need to pay your bills, kids.
Yeah, plus there are other books that are more deserving of your hard-earned cash.
Right.
This is deserving, but only if you have extra. So that's it. That's it for me. That's it
That's
for
it for me
him. Plus, stick around for our next one. We'll go live in a few minutes after this, and
We're
we're
just gonna go recharge, you know?
yeah, like just give us a few minutes to read up. we're it's gonna be like for you guys. We have right now we have people watching, Paul, Robert, and Kerr, and I hope you enjoyed this and stick around. And up next, we're talking X-Men.
No, wait, that's Wakanda. That's so
Wa-
wrong.
Wakanda,
Depending on who you like, it's
yeah,
either Wonder Woman.
Wolverine,
Well, Wolverine's closer.
yeah. Deadpool also has a poster like he's holding
Yeah.
pistols. So I don't know. It's
They just
crazy.
stole each other shit. Anyway, yeah, we will see you in
In a few minutes. Once again, my name is Rene Cruz Jr.
and Clifford Hong Kong.
And we are those fucking nerds. End it.
It won't.